So this is a worksheet. Okay. When we take a look at the worksheet, we have column right here. Point obvious. Guess what we put here? Account titles. What's an account title? Cash. Accounts payable Don's Crowley Market. Mrs. Gressel Capital. Advertising expense. So right here is going to be the list of all of our accounts, and I will tell you this, the accounts need to be in the correct order. Okay? What order do they go in? Assets, liabilities, owner's equity, revenue, and expense. Okay? So they need to be listed in that order that you would find them in your ledger, and the ledger is where you posted to in your reinforcement activity. Okay? So what we will do is we will list every single account. Even if it doesn't have a balance, will get listed here. So for example, on your reinforcement activity, you had a ledger for insurance expense and supplies expense. You should have had nothing in there. If you had something in there, you journalized something incorrectly. But we are going to need to use those accounts on our worksheet. So every single account will go on there. Even income summary will be on there. Okay? So we go through, we list our accounts. And then we have this column right here. We have 4 sets of columns on our worksheets. The first one we have is our trial balance. Then we have our adjustments. Then we have income statement and a balance sheet. Okay? It's important that you understand the purpose of each column. Today I'm going to be going through and teaching you the purpose of a trial balance. Okay? The purpose of your trial balance is to make sure after we posted all of our totals that we didn't make a mistake. Or we posted individually, we didn't make a mistake. Because when we journalized, we have a way of checking to see if we journalized correctly. How do we know if we journalized correctly? What do you think? Debits and credits equal. And how else besides debits and credits? What else did you have to prove at the end of the month? Cash. If your cash proved and your debits and credits proved, the likelihood of you journalizing correctly is pretty high. That's one of the nice things about accounting. You always have those ways to check to see, did you do it correctly? Okay? So what we did, though, is we took all that information, we threw it in the ledger. Do we know if we put it in the ledger correctly? Not yet. And again, that's the purpose of our trial balance. We're going to write every account, and their balance is going to go on here. And then at the very bottom, our debits and credits need to equal. If they don't, you're going to stop, and you have to fix it. You can do nothing else on the worksheet until these numbers equal. Accounting 2, is that important?
Yes.
Like uber important?
Yes.
Don't think, oh, I'll keep doing it and then go back and fix it. It doesn't work. Just stop right there and fix it. If you're working on it at home, send me an email if it doesn't work out. I will help you. Don't do anything else until these debits and credits equal. Very, very important. I'm going to say that over and over again. It's very important. Debits and credits equal. Don't think, oh, yeah, I'll get to it. No, no, no. Stop. Okay? Now, the other columns, we're going to have, tomorrow we're going to learn about this adjustment column. Just a little bit of a preview about adjustments. So, let's say at the beginning of my fiscal period, I buy 5 cases of paper. Because I'm going to use it in my business. Would you agree? At the end of my fiscal period, will I still have those 5 cases of paper? What's going to happen with those? I'm going to use them up, right? So this is going to account for the stuff that I use up during my fiscal period. Now, income statement and a balance sheet. Income statement, the purpose of an income statement is to show whether or not we've made money or lost money. And if we've made money or lost money, we're going to determine that by looking at our revenue and our expenses. What do we hope is bigger? Revenue, right, Carissa? If our revenue is greater than our expenses, then we're going to have a net income. If our expenses are greater than our revenue, we're going to have a net loss. Okay? So we'll know right here on this column whether or not we've made money or lost money. Right here, balance sheet. What do we always need to make sure balances? First thing you learned from me. No. That's the very first thing you learned from me is our accounting equation. From there, it took us a while before we learned about debits and credits. Now everything's all debit and credits, but we do debits and credits to make sure our balance sheet equals our accounting equation. So what's going to be on our balance sheet is our assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. It'll make more sense a little bit later, but I wanted to give you a preview of what we're going to do in a worksheet. Today's focus is our trial balance. Up in the very top of our worksheet, we have 3 lines. All of our financial statements are going to have 3 lines on the top. The very first line is going to be the name of our business. The second line is going to be the name of our document. The third line is going to be the date. Some financial statements are made on a specific day, and some are made for a fiscal period, meaning it covers a length of time. A worksheet is always going to be for a length of time. We're going to say, for this period of time, this is what happened in the business. So it will say, for month ended, for quarter ended, for year ended, depending on what our directions say, how often we're preparing our worksheet. So in our directions, did we find the name of our business? I think Isaac found it. What was it, Isaac? Golden Tan. Where was that? Like pointed right out to you in the directions? Like tends to be this stuff up here that you forget to read. Right above that, you're like, oh yeah, I'll just go ahead and do it. So it tells us that the name of our business is Golden Tam. The name of our document is going to be a worksheet. And then it tells us we're going to prepare on February 28th of the current year, Golden Tan has the following general ledger accounts, and the business uses a monthly fiscal period. So we're going to say for month ended February 28th, 2000 XX. So the next thing that I do is I really take every account. So the first one that's listed there is cash. So I'm going to go ahead and put cash in the account title, if I could spell it. And then cash has a debit balance of $9,800. And I would hit enter, and then I would go down the next line. What's my next account title? Petty cash. Ooh, having a hard time typing. And petty cash has a debit balance of $150. Then I will do accounts receivable. For Ruby Price, be careful when you get to accounts payable, Richard Navarro, because he has a credit balance. Don't automatically put that into your debit column. So he should have a credit balance of $555. Gary Baldwin Drawing also has a credit balance of $14,885. Gary Baldwin Drawing should be a debit of $3,400. Below Gary Baldwin Drawing is an account called Income Summary. Just put it on there. You'll learn about it later. No balance. You'll just leave it blank. Sales will have a credit balance of $4,320. Advertising expense of $931. Insurance expense, it has nothing for a balance. Miscellaneous expense has a debit of $378. Supplies expense has nothing. Last one should be utilities. And that'll have a debit of $1,100. After you have them all listed on there, get out your handy dandy little calculator and add up your columns. You put your amount for debit right here below your utilities expense and put the amount for credit right there. Some people have already moved on to the on your own. Sorry. The work together total I got for debit $19,760 and got the same thing for a credit. Everyone agree with that? So again, the purpose of our trial balance is to go through, list all of our accounts. Typically, they wouldn't give it to us like in a list, just like you see for the directions here. They would be in your ledger just like you had on your reinforcement activity, and then you would need to make sure that your debits and credits equal.